everybody. Before we get started, can I ask you to please welcome the Dean of the UCD College of Business, Professor Anthony Brabazon. The Chairman of the UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School Irish Advisory Board, Mr. Niall Fitzgerald, and the Chairman of the North American Advisory Board, Sean Kelly, and our Alumni Award winners and very special guests this evening. Quinn School Alumnus of the Year, Porrick Ward. The Smurfit School Alumnus of the Year, Michael Cullen. The Quinn School Student of the Year, Jeremy Bowles. And the Smurfit School Alumna of the Year, Aoife Kiernan. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, alumni and friends, you're all very welcome here this evening. It's wonderful to see everybody here. It's a great crowd. Tonight we honour some of our very best alumni. We are celebrating people who have achieved great things and who are great examples to the student body of what can be achieved. The Smurfit and Quinn schools have built an international reputation from Ireland and for Ireland, and our award winners this evening have done the same. Tonight is also a celebration of our alumni community, of all of you, because you are the people who have really shaped society. You are some of the highest achieving members of our society. The calibre of our award winners this evening and our students we are honouring tonight is hugely impressive. Furthermore, the calibre of this entire audience is hugely impressive. We've been honouring our alumni and friends of the school at gala dinners like this one in New York and in Dublin for the past 27 years, since the founding of the Smurfit School in 1991. And we're particularly grateful for your ongoing support and particularly delighted this evening to see so many of our previous award winners and honorees in the room who have travelled from all over to be here with us. Could I ask all of our previous award winners and honorees to please stand up? Ned Sullivan, Alan Ennis, Michael Carey, Bridget Donoghue, Kieran Murray, I can't see you standing up. Liam Fitzgerald, Angela Moore, Hugh Maguire, Michael Summers, Caroline Casey, Noreen O'Sullivan, Kingsley Aikens, Morris Keane, Richard Hooper, Vivian Jupp, Gary Liston, Niall Fitzgerald, Rob Downs, Emma Farrell, Gautam Krishnamurthy, Victoria O'Gorman. Thank you for being such wonderful ambassadors to UCD. Attracting the best students is central to our vision, and attracting the best talent to study at the Quinn and Smurfit schools also ensures that your alma mater continues to be consistently ranked amongst the best business schools in the world. Every year, the school is able to offer approximately 200 scholarships to the most deserving and promising students. To date, your generosity in supporting our annual dinners here and in New York have raised over €3 million for our scholarship fund. Securing additional scholarship funding continues to be one of our top priorities, and we're deeply grateful to our donors for their support. With your generosity, we can continue to attract and support the best students. The next short video is introduced by Brendan Brennan of ICON. Thank you, Brendan, and to all of the team from ICON for your continued support of this event. ICON are our platinum sponsors for the second year running, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. So now let's hear from the students themselves on this short video, just what it means to have received a scholarship to UCD.
ICON is delighted to sponsor tonight's UCD Business Alumni Awards, which is a celebration of Ireland's current and future business leaders. Congratulations to Porrick and Michael, who have achieved great success in their chosen fields, and to Aoife and Jeremy on their excellent academic achievements and contributions to society. As a world leader in clinical research with a proud Irish heritage from our foundation in Dublin 27 years ago, ICON is acutely aware of the importance of building a strong pool of Irish talent. We are very proud of our partnership with UCD, which supports educational and research programs, including the ICON Chair of Business Analytics. Together with UCD, we are committed to strengthening the ties between industry and academia to inspire and support the business leaders of the future.
The difference that the scholarship made for me is that I don't think I would have been here otherwise. I do love the school and the experience that the school would have offered me, but I wasn't going to be able to financially afford it.
I wasn't applying at UCD with the intention of a scholarship. I really had picked UCD because of the strength of the program. And then the scholarship came later and really helped along the decision to pick UCD over other schools.
Taking a year of work and my responsibilities with my family back in Venezuela were challenges in undertaking the MBA. And the scholarship really made the difference.
Such a game changer for me to have won the scholarship. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
I think the biggest value that it brings to me is to understand that there is somebody else that can help you at a certain phase of your life. And
Smurfit itself was an easy choice because I came here and there was this passion about the place, like people love what they do. There is this element of the course that exposes you to global markets, to emerging markets. You know, you get to meet other schools, like the business schools. Smurfit are part of GNAM. That is something that immediately connects you to the world.
In my program, there are 23 students, and we are 8 girls coming from different countries. Altogether, we come from 10 nationalities.
The ratio of international students means that you're going to come here and you're going to get a different kind of conversation than you could have someplace that's a little more homogenous.
A lot of my classes are very much discussion based, and like when there's 20 or 30 people, that can happen freely and you can get a really good discussion going where everyone's voice is heard. But if you're in a class with 100, 120 people, it just can't happen to the same level. So the small class sizes really allows you to hear everyone's opinion, allows you to get a really good discussion going.
The ratio of men to women in the classroom was much more balanced. So there's a gender balance in the classroom, which also changes the conversation for the better.
The faculty in Smurfit is one of the differentiating factors for the school. They are leagues above anywhere else in terms of how they capture a classroom, the atmosphere they create.
Education is key, but I believe relationship is paramount. You know, you could have the best degree in the world, but if no one knows what you're good at, or someone that could make use of what you're good at, then all you have is a good degree. So it was important for me that they have a good alumni organization, and UCD ticked boxes for me.
Elizabeth, you're right. There's lots of institutions selling degrees, but what sets us apart is all of you. It's our students, it's our academics, it's our professional colleagues, and it's our alumni. It's this wonderful community in the room here this evening. As I mentioned earlier, attracting the best students is central to our vision to be consistently ranked amongst the best business schools in the world. All of the scholarship students who helped make that video, they're in the room here this evening, and I'd really like them to stand up, please. I'd also like to ask anybody in this room who has ever been a scholarship recipient at UCD to also please stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, you are here tonight amongst the best and the brightest. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we do what we do. I'd now like to call Niall Fitzgerald, our chairman, up to the stage to give the opening address. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I do think that when we have so many bright and clever and academically esteemed people in the room, that it's also important that we don't take each other too seriously. Academics tend to do that, take themselves very seriously. I was going the other day into what is probably the world's leading biochemistry lab in Oxford, and they had a sign as you came through the main door, and it said, "Theory is when you know everything, but nothing works. Practice is when everything works, but no one knows why. In our lab, it said, theory and practice are combined. Nothing works and no one knows why. So please don't take yourselves too seriously. Welcome to everybody, in particular welcome to our colleagues who have come across the Atlantic from the North American board, Sean Kelly and Alan Ennis and Kieran Hines and Jim DeHaze, and also two of the Irish board who have actually crossed the Atlantic as well, Angela Moore and Sheetal Walsh. Obviously, a welcome to the honorees, the students of the year. It's at this moment then somebody of my age begins to say something like, well, it's funny, isn't it, how young the policemen are looking? And then you see the students of the year and you say, my God, how young are they? But the really sad thing for me is I'm now beginning to say, isn't it remarkable how young the alumni are looking? So we have the students of the year, Jeremy and Aoife, and of course the young alumni of Michael, Cullen and Padraig Ward. Apologies I have to give you from Andrew Deeks, who would have been with us, the president of the university tonight, but he's been detained on something else really quite urgent. As Tara said to you in her own inimitable way, the business school is on a roll. The business school, the totality of the business school, Smurfit, Quinn, the Executive Development Programme, and indeed the Overseas Campus. And it is a very, very international school. You got a flavour of that from the video that you've just seen. In the Smurfit school, it's about 50-50, 50 Irish, 50 non-Irish. But also in the Quinn school, the undergraduate school, there's at least 30% of who come through that school in different phases are non-Irish. And that is very unusual for an undergraduate school. In fact, we were talking today at the board meeting, there are 57 nationalities in the Quinn school. In fact, it goes from A to Z, Albania to Zimbabwe. And our criteria is there always has to be an Albanian and a Zimbabwean, so we can always say it goes from A to Z. Now, Tony, I will invite Tony in a moment, Tony Bravison, who is the acting dean. And actually tonight, since Andrew Deeks isn't here, he's also the acting president. Which means, Tony, that in the course of the evening you can take some decisions which affect the business school in your capacity as acting president, which we discussed at today's board meeting, which we would very much appreciate if you would just get on with those quickly. Academics, of course, they sort of live in a very democratic community, and there's another academic friend of mine who's the dean of another school who recently was taken ill rather suddenly. And he went to hospital, and his colleagues, of course, were very concerned about him, so they sent him some flowers. And when he took the card out, written on the card was, the faculty voted by 19 to 11 with 5 abstentions to wish you a moderately quick recovery. Tony, over to you.
Well, I think to start off with, I have to say thank you to Niall for the unexpected promotion this evening. Good evening, distinguished guests, advisory board members, honorees and friends. I'm delighted on behalf of UCD College of Business to welcome everybody here tonight to the 27th annual awards dinner. As Niall has mentioned, the college is thriving at the moment and has a very ambitious agenda for the years ahead. Those of you who are close to the school know that we have a strategy of aspiring to create the environment of a global top 50 school in everything that we do. And there have been several exciting developments over the last year which have moved us further along this journey. We've opened a new executive development facility on a Smurfit campus, investing about 5 million into that. We've opened a new centre for PhD studies on the Smurfit campus. And we've continued to invest in our faculty. Over the last year, we've recruited an additional 10 new faculty members in the school. And there's been some quite remarkable changes in our faculty base over the last 5 years, with 40% of our faculty joining us in the last 5 years. And that's been transformational because it has internationalised our faculty base, and certainly as well has had a significant impact on our research productivity and teaching capabilities. We've also invested heavily in recent years, as Tara mentioned, in scholarships. And of course, scholarships by their nature are transformative on people's lives. In another good year for our programmes, rankings have increased, and notable highlights include a 15th place ranking on the Global Financial Times rankings for MSc in International Management. Our open enrolment executive development programmes have passed an important milestone, crossing over the top 50 in the FT rankings to their current place of 48th. And our MSc in Finance is continuing to perform very strongly, being ranked 36th in the world by the Financial Times. Now, the level of investment needed to position the college as a true global leader of management education is very, very significant. But we think it's important because to drive the Irish economy forward and to ensure that our graduates have truly fulfilling careers, we need to provide an educational experience of the highest quality to all of our students. And I'd like tonight to acknowledge the crucial role that our corporate sponsors and also our philanthropic donors play in allowing us to give the facilities and education experience to our students that our students deserve. I'd also like to echo Niall's words concerning our advisory board. And earlier on today, we had our annual joint US-Irish advisory board meeting. And the advisory board members play a really, really significant part in the driving forward of the school. To give of their time and their experience for free. Every member of the advisory board is incredibly busy, and yet they make the time to fly in from all over the world for advisory board meetings. And we really appreciate that. And on behalf of the college and our students, I would like to say thank you to our advisory board. Now, in the College of Business, we passionately believe that the best way to influence the future is to help create it. And our aspiration is to prepare future generations of graduates for their careers. And a slightly sobering comment, echoing something that Niall said earlier on, is that the people who are coming through the Quinn School now will still be working in the 2050s and 2060s. So we're preparing people now who will still be working in mid-century. And of course, none of us are smart enough to know exactly what is going to happen over the coming decades. And that just underscores how important it is to ensure that our graduates are equipped to be flexible as they move forward and have an ability to adapt and self-learn. And we have a key project in the school over the next year, a breakthrough initiative called the Moore Learning Project. And anyone who's been on the Belfield campus recently and has walked around the Quinn School will see quite a large building going up beside the Quinn School. And this building is going to contain new world-leading facilities for our undergraduate students, and crucially is going to allow us to implement new learning environments which will help promote the skills, flexibility that our graduates are going to need in the future. And we look forward to keeping you updated on this project as it progresses over the next 12 months. I hope everybody enjoys their dinner. Well, it's certainly a big week in UCD this week. This week is the last term of the second semester. So for many of our students, it marks the end of their time in UCD, students who perhaps have spent 3 or 4 years with us. And there's a real sense of excitement as you walk around the campus with people thinking as to what the next chapter in their lives is going to be. It's also noticeable this week that sales of coffee all around the campus have gone up quite noticeably, and there's a hive of activity around the library because before people have a chance to look for that first job, they have to pass their summer exams. Now, this week is also very important to us because it's the week that we hold our annual awards dinner. And this is a keystone event in the College of Business every year. And tonight we are gathered, friends, alums, to recognise exceptional achievement. Namely, exceptional achievement from 2 of our graduates from 2017 and also 2 of our distinguished alumni. Now, the awards provide an opportunity to signal what we value as a school. And tonight's recipients are certainly exemplary and inspirational in their achievements. The Student of the Year awards recognise academic achievement, but range far beyond that. And in particular, the awardees have also displayed leadership and impact amongst their peers and also the wider world. I'm delighted to announce that the 2018 UCD Loughlin Quinn School of Business Student of the Year is Jeremy Bowles.
In the business school, we're really about helping things get done and making things happen. But beyond that, it's really interesting to see a business student decide to take social justice as a minor. He was thinking differently and working quietly as well as creatively with other students through the student societies, peer to peer, and thinking outward about how to make an impact.
I don't see Jeremy working in the banks or making millions for himself. He may well work in some of those sectors in finance or in technology. It'll be exciting to see what Jeremy does to bring business and to use the power of business for good, for the benefit of people.
When I think about all of it, the creativity of working with us in the college on the future of learning, working with the Investors and Entrepreneurs Society, working with the Irish Student Consulting Group, going to Tanzania, now being in London, working with Enterprise Ireland. The threads running through all of it are social justice, wanting to make a difference in the world, being an entrepreneur and thinking differently. And these are the things that make him an award winner tonight.
Thank you, Dean. I am honoured and privileged to receive this award, and it truly is a great privilege to have a brilliant school, amazing people, academic staff and classmates alike, and all with a serious support system throughout. Thank you to the entire staff in Quinn, particularly to some lecturers who helped me throughout, to Kieran Heavey, Maeve Houlihan and Pascal McNeil, who lectured me in first year and have given me guidance, mentorship and support throughout the 4 years. And thank you to the entire Quinn School for enabling and inspiring achievement. Thank you also to my family for the privilege of my parents' practical, emotional and financial support, without which I would not have graduated. Man, have they worked hard to get me through this. In final year last year, myself and Mum would say hi at 4 a.m. As she was going to bed after finishing her work and I was getting up to start mine. I'd also like to thank my fellow students who I had the privilege to work with throughout the 4 years, particularly on extracurriculars and college assignments. to the entire I&E committee. It was amazing working with them, particularly Jennifer Anderson, who was a rock throughout the year and for the society, and to Amin Mustafa, who took over as auditor and has grown the society to be the 6th largest in the university now. And also thank you to the team at Irish Student Consulting Group. It's been amazing to work with people like Aisling O'Reilly and Ronan Burke, who I've learned so much from working with them and all of the students I worked with in UCD. And to quote one of my readings from last year, one of the greatest privileges of the privileged is not to see their privilege. I'm honoured to have my eyes somewhat enlightened by the social justice theme running throughout the commerce course, and I hope to use my foundation in Quinn for some social good in my future. Thank you.
Moving to our Smurfit Student of the Year, I'm delighted to announce that the 2018 UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate School Student of the Year is Aoife Kiernan.
Aoife Kiernan was awarded the UCD Smurfit Alumnus of the Year award because she has very specific characteristics that mark her out in comparison to many of the other graduates of her year.
Any Smurfit class is full of bright people, but Aoife stood out. She has a boundless enthusiasm and energy, a hunger for knowledge.
She had a very, very busy career as a nurse on the one hand. Meanwhile, she had to devote herself, of course, to the actual course content, which she excelled in.
And she wanted to use Smurfit as a bridge to develop the management competencies to take her nursing skills into a wider arena. And this is what's happened. She's been snapped up by EY. She's working on a very high-profile project now, the new National Children's Hospital. So Smurfit has given her that bridge and that set of skills and confidence to operate on a very high level on a big stage. Aoife's somebody who's taken the Smurfit experience and fully embraced it and wrung every last drop out of it. And I think she really deserves the Student of the Year award.
In sum, she was the archetypal best student that we could have in a given year.
It's going to be hard to follow up a speech with a welcome like that. Thank you, Tony, for the really amazing welcome here this evening. And good evening to everybody. I am truly honoured to accept this award tonight. And I would like to thank the nominations team for this amazing acknowledgement, which truly is a privilege given the calibre of my peers at Smurfit College last year. I can definitely say that I would not be here this evening without the many forms of support that have luckily come my way. I first realised my love of business in the Leaving Certificate class I was having with William Murphy in the Institute of Education. The work ethic instilled with me at the Institute stood with me throughout my undergraduate and then my master's studies in Smurfit. The Aspire Scholarship Programme provided me the opportunity to study international business at a world-class school where a merger of my passions in healthcare and business were very well facilitated. Outstanding and inspirational lecturers encouraged innovation and leadership. Large group work sessions provided a peer-to-peer learning environment, allowing the opportunity for valuable networking, all of which comprehensively prepare students for the next step in their career. I am honoured to form part of the Smurfit alumni and wish to express my gratitude to the lecturers and in particular to Joe and Sean for the lovely words in their video. I would also like to offer a special word of thanks to EY who took a chance on a very green and excited student 3 years ago. I am very grateful to be part of such a diverse and innovative organisation which is devoted to building a better working world. The celebration and recognition of this award from the entire organisation and my colleagues here this evening has been remarkable, and I would like to extend my sincerest appreciation to them. I am particularly thankful to have the overwhelming support of my family. As the youngest of 6, I have been privileged to watch and learn from my siblings, Alison and Sally, who are here tonight, and Paul, Christine and Grace, who couldn't make it. But they have never been too busy to lend an ear or brainstorm an idea. So thank you so much. To my parents, Mum and Dad, thank you for everything. You've always been there for me, you always will be, and I simply cannot thank you all enough. Last but certainly not least, to the Aspire Scholarship Programme and the wider network. The generous and passionate people behind it will never truly understand the effect and impact that they have on the lives of the scholars and those around them. They single-handedly give opportunities that are otherwise not possible. Your time, effort and generosity is overwhelming, and I strive to support others in the way that you have supported me. Thank you all very much for listening, and I hope you all have a lovely evening.
Now, the school's strategy speaks of the school and its graduates as being in the world and for the world. And these two sentiments encapsulate the criteria for the awards. In the world, in that the awards are made to individuals who have excelled in their chosen field and who are recognised as inspirational leaders by the wider business community. And for the world, in that awardees have invariably contributed significantly to society more generally. This year's awardees are role models of the highest distinction and exemplars of individuals who are prepared to think bigger and not to shirk from challenges. I am delighted to announce that the 2018 UCD Loughlin Quinn School of Business Alumnus of the Year Award is awarded to Pádraig Ward.
Pádraig was awarded a Bachelor of Commerce degree from University College Dublin in 1986. He then moved to Paris working for Chorus Troctala, and then to London where he joined Omega Partners. In 1994, while in London, Pádraig joined Glaxo. He then moved to North Carolina and, after a period there, to Rio de Janeiro. After joining Roche in 2004, Pádraig moved to Portugal, initially, then Italy, before finally moving to San Francisco. 2015 saw him move back to Paris. Pádraig has been leading the Roche pharma operations across Europe since the summer of 2017.
Pádraig Ward is a fantastic colleague. He is really an exceptional leader who leads from a place of enormous personal conviction in the importance of what we're doing and the stakes in terms of improving healthcare for patients, and a very clear moral lens as he looks at that issue through.
It was very clear to me since the beginning that he would have done great things inside our organization. What impressed me most was his attention to people, which represents, in my opinion, one fundamental value that a true leader must have.
I was able to benefit from all your dedication, from all your research,
from whatever work you've done, mistakes you've made, the lessons you've learned, the sophistication of what I have been a beneficiary. And it's a wonderful opportunity to say that thank you.
The first time that I met Porrick was for my job interview to become his assistant, which I actually did for his stay here in Italy. I had right away the impression that I was dealing with a different kind of boss. He was more than a boss, a leader for all the people.
He's very, very much focused on people, people development and growth. And he's as much focused on the how as the what. So whilst he's a successful leader that's produced tremendous business results, when you work with Porrick, you see that how he does it is never compromised. He puts as much focus on that part as he does to achieving the results. And that goes to the way he treats people, his personal morals, and the values that he brings to every decision.
What I admire with Porrick is his ability to focus and to see clarity for himself and for others.
Is how inclusive he is as a leader. His ability to bring together all the 28 countries, the GMs, the CMDs, regardless the country size or the function, it's really amazing.
Porrick is so visionary, but doesn't make too much fuss of it.
General leadership, and I love his green shirts.
It's his different perspective he provides. Whenever we make things complicated, he simplifies them.
Decisiveness. He sets a clear direction that we can get behind and follow.
What I most admire about Porrick is his authenticity, his honest approach, never believing he has all the answers, but willing to work with us to find the right solution.
What I think is fabulous about Porrick is his deep care about patients. That is what matters most to him.
What is great about Porrick is his Irish humor that brings a boost of energy and fun whenever is needed.
His ability to combine different qualities, being gentle and challenging, imaginative and practical, and task and people oriented.
He's a fantastic coach, and he brings out the best in the team, and he brings out the best in me.
Porrick, I have a gift for you. You are a duini sprega muinin. That means that actually you are a trusty word. And let me say also in Italia, tu sei una persona che ispira fiducia.
Many congratulations, Porrick. You really deserve this award.
Congratulations, Porrick. As you once said, behind a great man there is always a great assistant.
Congratulations, Porrick, and have a lovely evening celebrating with your family and friends.
There you go. People who work in Swiss companies have a sense of humor. I bet you didn't know that. These ones down here did, because they work with me. Listen, thank you very much. It's a great honor to accept this award. As you saw, I graduated in 1986. And for those of you who are either too young or too old to remember 1986, it was sort of characterized by a few things, at least in my life anyway. There were no jobs for anyone. You couldn't give a house away in Dublin. And at St. Michael's College, where I spent 12 years of my education, success meant getting to the second round of the Leinster School Senior Cup. Now, I left straight away after that, and I never lived in Ireland again. Could somebody please explain to me what happened in the meantime? It's like coming back to a foreign country. The only thing that saved me was I noticed Eamon Dunphy is still on the television watching the football. Now listen, at that time, there were no jobs around, or not many anyway. I completely, and not for the last time, fell on my feet, and I got a graduate traineeship with what was then Chorus Throchdala. And it was absolutely wonderful, and a wonderful way to start a career. At a few months in, it was decided that the 12 of us who were in the program would be sent to work as cheap labor in the offices around Europe. There was an opportunity to go and work in Paris, which of course was a very attractive opportunity. And for amongst the 12 of us, the selection process was very rigorous. Do you speak French? Oui, I said. And off I went. And I learned all the other words once I got there. And it was great. So this is actually the first time, in fact, it's 31 years since I left Ireland. It's the first time I have ever spoken in public in Ireland. And I would just like to use this opportunity to say to any of you who may have been running businesses that were not successful in France in the late 1980s, I'm really sorry. But thanks very much for the learning opportunity, because it was absolutely brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So I went on and had great adventures. I would never in my wildest dreams have imagined the kind of stuff I would go and do, and the kind of opportunities I would get, the kind of places I would live, and the kind of things that I would be able to do. And hopefully it's not nearly over yet. Couldn't ever have imagined that that would happen. But looking back, there are some things that lead me to understand at least partly why they might have. And it starts off, of course, as it starts off for all of us, with the support I got from my parents. Neither of them are still alive or with us anymore. I'm sure they're both looking down. The Irish mammy with the little tear in the eye, and the Irish daddy looking very uncomfortable and ill at ease, but both of them very proud in their own way. They were great. They taught us, me and my brother, to question things, to think for ourselves, to challenge, and always to go do our best. And that's the way I've tried to live my life ever since. Oh, thank you. Over the past years, then, you never do anything on your own, do you? And you saw some of the great people I work with. Actually, in full transparency, many of those people report to me, so I will be reviewing their performance at the end of the year, and that may explain some of the very flattering comments. When the Italians start making signs in Irish, you know that there's probably a plea for a good performance rating going in there somewhere. You never do anything on your own at work or anywhere else. And now I'm about to embarrass the two of you that are sitting down there. My wife, Shayla, left Brazil in search, all on her own, in search of adventure and a wonderful life, and met me instead. And has remained with me, and we've been married for 22 years. Please, if you're talking to her later on, she's a lovely person, but please don't ask her why, because I don't want her to think about it too much. But there are things that we have done, decisions we have made. We have always made them together. All of those moves, all of those opportunities, we have always discussed and made those decisions together. When I have had doubts about whether things were the right things to do or risks were the right ones to take, it was often Shayla who encouraged me to go for it. And her comment has always been, go for it, we'll do it together. It'll either work together or it won't, but we'll be together. And you're absolutely marvelous. Thank you so much. Right at the end of that table over there, there's an absolutely marvelous young man who is my son, Hugo. He is just a joy to be around for the last almost 17 years. Almost 17 years, he's been a joy to be around because he's almost 17, not because there was a period before. As I saw that, I thought that could be open to misunderstanding. Not at all. He's an absolutely wonderful young man, a real joy to be around. He's a great student. He works twice as hard as I ever did when I was his age. He's soon going to be gone off to create his own academic career and what comes beyond. Really proud of you, and you're a great support as well. And you always have been. Love you lots. Now, there are other reasons why you can become successful, and it's some of the things you learn. Back in 1986, there weren't that many role models around for us, actually, for anybody who can remember. There's one or two who are in the room, but there weren't many others. John Teeling, who has been mentioned probably every year, I think, in this event, was definitely one of them as a teacher and an inspiration. I would go to his classes, never take down a single word that he said, but sit there captivated for a long time, Never was quite sure what it was he did, but I was pretty sure that I wanted to do it as well. And I followed his lessons in leadership, and many of the things I learned from him stay with me today. And to have a role model like that at UCD was a great start. The other thing is that you don't become successful in anything unless you know how to use the tools of your trade. And when I look back at the things that I learned in the BCom program, the diversity of programs, the diversity of things that we covered in that degree, it still is amazing to me, the variety that we had. And I went and I did an MBA in INSEAD later on, and I met wonderful people from all over the world, and I realized in working and studying with them that the things that I had learned in the BCom program were at the very least as good as the best of anything else that they had done and learned. And so as I sit here, I am also very, very grateful and proud to present myself for the last 31 years or so as a graduate of UCD and as a BCom from UCD. And I would say to all of those who were then and who are now teachers and bringing us all forward in our learning and creating the base, it's really me who should be putting the medal around your necks, not the other way around. Thank you very much.
I am delighted to announce that the 2018 UCD Smurfit School of Business Alumnus of the Year is Michael Cullen.
Michael Cullen graduated from UCD in 1975 with a master's degree in business and commerce. A native of Monaghan, Michael then began his career working in the Dublin of the late 1970s. It was during this time that Michael was to first meet Tim Brosnan.
And I was just starting off as head of treasury in ICC then, and I needed to build a team. So I actually angled to get Michael assigned to me and succeeded.
It was during this period that Michael honed his entrepreneurial skills.
He was a pioneer. He was incredibly innovative. Like he introduced things that seem quaint now, but Irish pound swaps and commercial paper, products that weren't in the market in those days.
But that gave us the reputation to enable us to set up Gandon as an investment banking operation, a standalone investment banking operation.
Michael is a personable person. He is open, warm, hardworking, but friendship means everything to him.
He's also very smart. Like he's a good analyst of the world, of the situation. He's a good strategist. He's actually a good politician as well, in the sense of kind of knowing what's possible and kind of knowing how to make it happen.
Michael is a great friend and very, very loyal. But he's as straight as a die and always does the right thing. Michael is incredibly clever, but he's a hustler and very, very competitive.
I remember my first insight into that was not in business but in sport. In the early days in Citibank, we used to play these inter-group five-a-side competitions, and Michael wanted to win every one of those little games against the competition. And he'd start off before each game and give us a pep talk, and it was always the same: I'll win the ball.
As an entrepreneur, Michael was constantly looking at the way things were done at the time and trying to come up with ways of doing them better.
And one of the things he always tried to do was not just have a business relation, but have some relationship outside the office. And one of the early days he used to do the golf outings, but a Gandon outing was a very particular one. It was done incredibly well. He would have great people around it and would be very well managed. And I think he was really ahead of his time in terms of identifying that link just between dealing with people in the office and dealing with them outside. And he used golf and skiing and a number of events to do that, but it was always done very professionally, and people always spoke about the Gandon event.
Michael was one of my first ever paymasters. He hired me to do a corporate day down at Royal Dublin Golf Club. That was 1991. started in 1992. That was Gannon Securities back then.
Supporting upcoming sporting professionals is something that Michael has always tried to do, and over the years has supported many, including Paul McGinley, Johnny Sexton, and more recently, Stephanie Meadow.
Sponsorship is very important, much more important when you're starting out than it is when you're finishing and hopefully become successful, because then you can kind of fund yourself. So you know, it's what I appreciate so much about Michael and what he did is he's been there since day one of my very, very first sponsors, been very supportive right through my whole career. It's something I'm very grateful for.
Smart and all as he is, he can be delusional. Like he has the delusion that Monaghan will one day win in All Ireland, which like it's hard to fathom how he might think that, but he does.
Every time I meet him, his eyes light up when he talks about Monaghan GAA. Every time I've seen him presenting here at Investec or at offsites, he finds some creative way to bring in Monaghan.
He got involved exactly 10 years ago. I think it was 2008. He took over the sponsorship of the Monaghan team, and ever since then I've got to know Michael better and better year on year. So I know it's something that he's very proud of, being involved in Monaghan and sponsoring the team.
But at the very first game as sponsor, Michael noticed a problem.
There's nobody wearing the jersey, they're all wearing the old jerseys. So he did a deal with all the local sports shops. What we're going to do, we're going to invest some money here. Anybody who hands in an old shirt, an old jersey, with the old sponsor's name on it, can buy a brand new one with Investec written on it for half price. So he took all the old ones out of circulation, got Investec all the way into circulation, and I thought it was a brilliant brainchild idea from a banker, but obviously saw the marketeer in him come out as well.
When I was appointed Minister for Arts, Heritage and the Gaeltacht, I received in the post a parcel one day. And when I opened it up, I was delighted to receive a Monaghan jersey. And I thought to myself, well, there's Michael now. He's not going to let me forget about my roots.
Congratulations, Michael. You're a most deserving winner.
Many congratulations on behalf of myself and from all in Investec Ireland.
Over the last 30 years or more, you've actually done a fantastic job of growing various businesses, but more importantly, growing great leaders. I hope you enjoy your night.
From one Monaghan man to another, I'm delighted that you're getting this honour tonight. Huge congratulations to you, to all in Investec and your family.
This is an honour that's very well deserved, and I'm sure you and Marion are going to have a great night.
Michael, congratulations on your award.
Congratulations, Michael, on your award this evening. It's very well deserved.
Michael, congratulations on your long and highly successful career.
It's a tremendous credit to you, to your family, and of course to the people of County Monaghan.
Let me take out a few notes. What a great video. You can be absolutely certain that will be playing in Investec on Monday. I asked Tara how I should treat my few words tonight. And she says, and it's pretty obvious, she didn't tell everybody else, she said I was to treat it as if I was speed dating. I have 5 minutes to impress people, and then I'm to get off the stage as quick as possible. So I'm going to try and say a few words. Obviously, I wouldn't be here without the support of all the wonderful people I've had an opportunity to work with, a number of whom are here, a number of whom are obviously in the video. There's one person who probably isn't in the video, and I'd like to call out, really. Long before corporate governance was in the mainstream, this man taught me all I needed to know about corporate governance. And that man actually is the chairman of the Investment Committee, Lawrence Crowley. Lawrence, when I was CEO of Gandon, we actually had a particularly good year, and I with the help, well, with the support of the chairman, Brian Davey at the time, we agreed we put a provision of 300,000 for the rainy day. Now, Derek Byrne wouldn't allow me to do that now, it's all moved on, but anyway, those days that was allowed. So where did Lawrence come in? Well, those days, and these are words that are still relevant today, I was on a bonus of 5% of the profits. So obviously it was 5% of the profits pre-provision. Brian agreed until we went to Lawrence, and Lawrence obviously took the independent view of 5% of post-provisions, which is, if the mathematicians here, was 15,000, which at the time was quite significant. So, Lawrence, I have forgiven you for that. But can I tell you, I don't think the lady beside you has forgiven you for it. When I did my MBS, which was a number of years ago, I also started at that time to date a very young girl from Clones, County Monaghan. She's here with us tonight. I'm still dating her, thank God. She actually spent 3 years, I think it was, in Kerrysford, the teacher training long before the Smurfit School went out. So Marion is here tonight, and we actually have not one, so I'm not going to go through them all as Pádraig did, but I have my 4 children here with their partners. I've got David, Gavin, Connor, Aisling, Sarah and Sal, who have children, my grandchildren, and we have, of course, because we're into diversity, Aisling's fiancé, who's from London. Ben and Janie, of course. I've had actually a wonderful career. I've been working in, as you probably see, in the markets for quite a long time. I had some great times in Price Waterhouse. I then moved, where did I move? To Citibank. I was working with Aidan Brady. Sorry, I was with ICC for a while, and under a visionary Frank Casey, who was absolutely fantastic as a mentor. We had Craig McKinney, Dan O'Connor in Woodchester. At times I had Dermot Desmond in IIU. We spent some time together in a transaction. And Gandon, obviously, we had some great times in Gandon. And I've had a fantastic time with Investec, and my colleagues here, a number of them are here. I think table 12 and 13 are here, and not calling them out particularly, but they're all great. Dolores and Aisling and Liam and John and Derek. Well, one thing I should say, while we've had some good times, I think we all, when I think about my career, it's always the tough times you look back on, and you do and try and sort of bring it home. But one of the toughest times we had in growing our business was actually when the Irish government brought in the guarantee for the Irish banks about 10 years ago. And we were fully funded in Investec. We thought this was a great opportunity. Nothing could happen to us. And the guarantee came in. And people started to withdraw funds, wanted to withdraw their funds ahead of time. I think it was Aisling Dodson, who's on table 20, came up with an index, because we love indexes and indices in the market. She came up with the Joe Duffy index. And you have to go back, and it's somewhat humorous now, but it wasn't humorous then. And what the Joe Duffy index was that if a depositor wanted to withdraw their funds ahead of time, and we thought they'd go to Joe Duffy on the show and complain about us, we give them their money back. But if you're bold and big, and you wanted to draw early, well, we forgot about you. You had to hold your money. Now, that decision saved our business because there was such a run on banks into the Irish banks. So the Joe Duffy Index is very much part and parcel of what we're about. I've had, as I said, some wonderful opportunities, and in a career I've had the opportunity to sponsor a number of sports people. I think the team in Investec have indulged me, obviously, with the Monaghan team, which have been hugely successful. Those that for those who are living on Mars, we beat Dublin about 4 weeks ago. Obviously, we've been Paul for many years. We've Johnny Sexton, when we were the only ones to support him when he went to Racing Metro. I just want to get that dig in. And finally, we have a lovely lady with us, one of Ireland's brightest prospects in golf. She plays on the US Tour, Stephanie Meadow. She's here with us tonight. On a serious note, I think financial institutions have come in for a lot of criticism, and I think in building our businesses, we all always have to try to do the right thing when no one is watching, and I think we've a long way to go. And when I listen to Aoife and Jeremy, if we're ever going to attract talent like that again into financial institutions, we all not only have to talk about cultural change, we all have to live cultural change. So, that is a challenge that we have. I also have my family from Monaghan here. My mum and dad obviously sadly passed away, but I have two of my brothers here, Kevin and Malachy, and I have my sister Marie, my only sister Marie. I was the youngest of six. I believe Aoife, I think, said she's the youngest of six. They give me lots of advice. I thank them for that. I also thank myself for not taking it. And I do think they owe me for, as is commonly known, I give them a fun-filled childhood. Finally, because, Tara does want me to get off the stage as quick as possible, I can identify with Niall when he spoke. We sometimes take ourselves far too seriously, certainly in the financial markets. And it does remind me of a story Paul McGinley told me when he was playing in the Irish Open in 2009. And those that were here in 2009, it mightn't have been 1970s, but it was pretty bad. And Paul's golf was waning, and the Ryder Cup captaincy was way ahead in the future, so everything was very serious, and he was teeing up and he was drawn with John Daly, the American golfer, who is known to be of good humour. So walking down after the drive, Paul was so focused, he said, he just was so focused on his golf. And John Daly said to him, Paul, I believe things, I won't put on the accent, I wouldn't embarrass our American colleagues. Paul, I believe things are very difficult in your country. Paul, as is his wont, as anyone who's known Paul, Paul went into how tough things were, the economics, he had all the economics, his quotes, and John stopped and said, Paul, things are messed up in our country too. And Paul was a bit taken aback. Paul, in our country, people are marrying for love, not for money now. So at that, Paul realised it was all a bit of good humour could have. Finally, when I did the MBS, I think it sort of dotted the I's, crossed the T's for me. It was a fantastic experience. I really had a fantastic time during the MBS, and I really, I admire what UCD, the Quinn School, have done. All my kids went to the UCD. Some of my in-laws apparently went to Trinity, wherever that is. Sarah. But we have forgiven people. But finally, and I have to end, as I said, what it is. I'm thrilled to accept this honour, thrilled to receive it. But it would be, it wouldn't be natural if I didn't say something at the end. I want to paraphrase sort of something that two, as I call them, a la carte Kerry supporters who are good friends of mine, Dennis Casey and Frank Darcy. Sometimes I paraphrase a few words that they say: Irish by birth, Monaghan by the grace of God.
Hello again. Hello again, everybody. We're coming to the end of the formal proceedings, and there's something that I wanted to let you know. The Smurfit MBA rugby team won the Rugby World Cup in Virginia last week. The women's team came third and the men's team came first. Can everyone please give them a round of applause? They brought the cup home to Smurfit after 5 years. Congratulations, guys. And girls, we're very, very proud of you. Once again, I'd like to thank our platinum sponsors tonight, Icon. We really appreciate your support, and to all of our corporate sponsors and donors in the room tonight. We really couldn't put on such a meaningful event without your support, so thank you so much. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues. A night like this doesn't happen without the wonderful support of the people that I work with. Orla O'Malley, Paulina Martignac, Elena Hearn, Aoife Mulqueen, John Curran, and also our extended team tonight, James Dowling, Maria Nolan, Niamh Linden, Avril Donoghue, and all of the students who volunteered their time tonight. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your hard work and dedication. Tonight is about you. It's about how you make a difference. It's about our alumni network, this wonderful alumni community that you are part of. It's about our students, our colleagues, and our corporate friends. It's about all of you. So I really want you to stay and enjoy the night. The night is only starting. It's early. We finish early for a reason. We have a bar extension until 1:30. So please stay and enjoy the night. And I really do hope we'll see you here again next year. The fabulous Sharon Crosby. Where are you, Sharon? Sharon is going to entertain you until the early hours of the morning with her jazz band. Stay and enjoy the night. See you next year. Thank you very much. Good night.